Only on 4 tonight, we're taking you to the crossing grounds where thousands of undocumented immigrants trek through ranches yearly. Border Patrol shows us the routes on the west side of Highway 77 that's marked right here in red. Action 4's Tiffany Huertas joins us from Willacy with more. Tiffany.
Every year, thousands of immigrants cross ranches like this one in Willacy County. Many come to escape the violence from their home countries. According to Border Patrol, those smuggling immigrants crossing the border break the law in exchange for cash.
Willacy County. Just 30 miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border. There is a section of remote land bordering Kennedy, Hidalgo, and Cameron counties. County roads 10, 20, 30 in Raymondville are the most common routes smugglers use to avoid security checkpoints, and where hundreds of undocumented immigrants make a dangerous journey, which in some cases could be their last.
Porque hay mucha violencia por dinero, por falta de trabajo, que no hay, ¿verdad? Y pues uno viene a buscarle acá.
It's very vast in those areas, and if we don't, get them within enough time, they might succumb to the weather.
Thomas Rudd, the patrol agent in charge, says human traffickers use westbound Highway 186 like a bus stop to drop off undocumented immigrants day and night, putting people in the most treacherous situations imaginable, making them travel on foot on miles of farmland. That also makes tracking immigrants even more difficult for the Border Patrol, having to look for any sign that immigrants have passed through this area, from torn down fences to markings on the ground.
There's sign of a vehicle that might have stopped abruptly or took off abruptly or turned around in the middle of a curve or in the middle of a road, which, typically a rancher won't do that.
But when it rains, the trek becomes impossible.
When the sun's back out here, 80 degrees is walking in this sand, basically. It's like walking on a beach. 80 degrees is pretty hot, and they'll succumb to the weather, twist an ankle, and then they're left behind.
Tracking immigrants has become a little easier thanks to modern technology, like cameras and sensors on the ground.
Recently, agents were able to identify this area off Knopf Road as one of the human smuggling drop-off points. If you take a walk with me, smugglers were able to make their way down this path, and they made a hole through the fence. Eventually, agents arrested 30 immigrants.
Since that day, this road has been considered a hotspot. Agents believe this was left behind by the same people who wanted to get through. Over time, agents discovered their best weapons to curb human smuggling are actually the residents of Willacy County.
They tell us some of the areas that they've experienced where traffic has been coming in, where they might interrupt the lease, the hunting, anything that might be going on, or if it's a farming area, if there's crops that's been destroyed.
Proximate.
Albert Tropy has been living on this property in Raymondville for more than 50 years.
I didn't have this door locked then, and so whenever I'd come out here, there they were.
In the mornings, he would wake up to families of undocumented immigrants who had suffered at the hands of their smugglers. Some were beaten, starved, and the women and children raped. And he would always extend a helping hand to them.
A cup of coffee, something to eat, sandwich or something.
He says thanks to the increased presence of the Border Patrol, he hasn't seen undocumented immigrants cross as often. Tropy says he does not regret helping them, but thinks the issue is bigger than what he's seen with his own eyes.
You hate to see people that are man and wife and maybe 2 or 3 or 4 kids, or a party of 10 or 15. They have nothing to do. They're having killings all over in Mexico. I don't blame them, But somewhere it's got to stop.
He agrees their journey is against the law, but at the end of the day, they are still human.
If they come by, I'll always help them,
The story does not end here. Tomorrow, hear the journey of one man who came from Mexico wanting a better life. But what he got in return was much more than what he expected. In Willacy County, Tiffany Huertas, Action 4 News.